one of us here is the winner.
Who's the
Yeah,
winner?
that's 100% true.
Mhm.
Gonna be one of us. So
Yep. We played the game, or at least the second half. We played it together. You know, I intended on this final three, and it came true. So
Yeah, it worked out.
yes, yeah.
started with 17.
Mm-hmm.
We said goodbye to many along the way.
Along.
Some we knew better than others.
Yeah.
I guess our first one out was really Shea, who had to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like Shea. I think talked with everyone. He talked with a lot of people. You know, he had he didn't talk with you.
Nope, never spoke to Shea once.
Oh, he spoke. He spoke a lot with me, and he spoke a lot
That's
in
good.
the group chat.
I've heard he spoke to most people.
Yeah, exactly. He had like in-depth he was having a in-depth conversations with me immediately. Like he was the person I spoke to the most probably at the One World phase of the game.
But yeah, I thought he was going to be, super social, super dangerous. I'm like, oh, he's one to watch because he's going to be talking to absolutely everybody.
Yeah, and he found the first advantage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nick.
I actually that was a pretty, I guess, fun round, but it ended up. I think everyone saw Nick as a very hard schemer from the beginning, so it was kind of like going against the grain to try and keep him in the. There was the famous finance group chat that I was a part of it. I kind of just like I didn't really acknowledge it at first because he had already made like 3 different ones, and I'm like, okay, like why am I going for this one? But everyone else in that group kind of felt like it was me, Will, Kyle, and Julia who didn't even join it at all. And we did have like a group chat or like a group Zoom.
And then who did we had Julia.
I never got to speak to Julia, but
yeah, Julia was on Serpone with me, and very nice, friendly. I think one of my first notes about Julia was that she had that whole New York vibe to her, and I was like, this is amazing, love this. And something quirky was that she was always looking at her screen this way while speaking to you. So you would be talking to her and looking at her, and she'd be like, well, yeah, because and it was just she was talking to someone else. If you could get her on a call, because she had a very busy week. Next was Micah. And surprising, I really would have thought that Micah would have lasted a lot longer in this game.
Yeah, he seemed like a nice guy.
All super friendly, always really pleasant to speak with, really eager, always with a big smile on his face. He's someone that I think I'm surprised wasn't aligned more with other people, and I think that's ultimately what got him, was just nice to all and not, kind of buddied up with some people along the way yet, and a victim of essentially Mike. After Micah,
I think it was Elijah.
we had. So I wasn't on that drive anymore for that.
Neither were none of us.
None of us were. Yeah.
I mean, I started with Elijah, and he was smart.
Yeah.
Everyone knew it. Everyone suspected he had found the advantage.
Yeah.
If he had shared it more with people and included people into his game, I do think that he could have gone a little farther. But did you?
Yeah. I got to speak with him quite a bit in the One World phase because he's the other young guy, I guess. Yeah, very, very smart. Knew a lot about the show. It was definitely a threat. So
yeah, I spoke to him a bit too. There was that group of 6 or whatever in the early game. It was Victoria, myself, you, Jonathan, plus him, Parker, and Kyle were that group. So I talked to him a bit even before then. But yeah, so I remember those days, that early alliance that really never came to any real fruition, except for got to you and Victoria pretty easily afterwards.
Next.
It was after that it was Kyle.
Yeah, it was Kyle.
I was surprised to see Kyle go over Mike. I remember when they bring up Kyle's name over Mike. That was a big red flag for me. But I did like Kyle a lot. I related to him like, or like relatively similar. We're both like interested in economics. We both like music. So, but
Yeah.
the stars never really aligned for me and Kyle. We weren't on the same tribes, so I didn't really have a hard time voting.
Yeah, I mean, I was shocked that Kyle was the name too. I mean, that round was also like I never even spoke to Kyle before the vote. He didn't even try to talk to me.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where I was like, whatever. Like, clearly you're going to the powers that be and you don't view me as that person.
Yeah.
So that's fine. But yeah, I only spoke to Mike before then. He was the only one who even talked to me. So I was like, maybe for me that'll work out, but that was a mistake.
Kyle, you're right about that. I think Kyle kind of went to like whoever he deemed was in charge and then kind of just followed their orders. He did it on our tribe, original Serpone tribe as well. And that there was always a disconnect with me and Kyle whenever we sat on like calls together comparatively to everyone else, because I could just tell he was like, Mike's number one kind of a thing. And then after Kyle left, we had
Andrew.
Andrew.
I skipped Andrew.
That was the big one. There were a few big ones.
That was the big firework. Yeah.
Andrew was the big shift, right? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I was in like original calls with Andrew, like at One World. Yeah, I mean, he just knew his place in the game he was in a good spot, but he relied with Ruken, and he just relied too heavily on that, I think. So
he made it too obvious that he was the leader, because even like me as someone who was like, Andrew would be reliable for me. I was like, I can't keep Andrew that long though, because he's just gonna keep leading the way, leading the charge forward.
Yeah, exactly. He was gonna. Yeah, going into the merge, I wanted to vote out a Sarpone first, but the fact that he was just making it like so blatantly obvious, him and Margaret going off to the Zoom on their own, and also the fact that it was going to be Victoria, it was just like he didn't, I guess, like try to scoop in the people that he already thought he had, and that was his downfall in the game.
Yeah, he really needed to be kind of nurturing those relationships, the newer ones with someone like myself, and the older ones that he's already had. And after Andrew was our crazy round of our breakout rooms, and
oh yes, the mini. Welcome to the mini.
Yeah, the mini. That's where Michael thrives.
I'm good at it.
Relevant.
Yeah. And
that was Parker.
Yeah, Parker. I mean, it's pretty evident for me that Will, Margaret and Kiley were safe, so Will wanted.
Yeah, and that was just Will called out Parker, and I actually that's the only vote in the entire game where I was like kind of not okay with it happening. But
I mean, I made it known that afterwards physically I was like, I didn't want to fucking do that, but that's the numbers.
But I mean, Parker though, like the nicest person. I really
I got along with Parker well, so that's
I mean, me and Parker had like multiple multi-hour like late night calls of just us like shooting the shit, not even talking game for a lot of it. So
but yeah, speaking of, next was Margaret. I had very little time spent with Margaret myself, so it just felt Margaret was like performing for me, and I just knew it. So like acting and putting on a lot of stuff, and it just didn't feel sincere. So I was like, you got to go. I could appreciate her attempt and her like willingness to play the game hard, but at the same time, I would just say like, calm it down a little bit, Margaret, and just like don't do everything all at the same time. Like, space it out a bit. And then
I had a great time with Margaret, so every time. So everyone knows my relationship is pretty good. So public knowledge.
And then next was after Margaret.
Will, yeah.
I had this little diagram with people. It's in my book of who's protecting Margaret. Yeah. And I was like, and then I had underneath it, which I think I showed Will.
We're to find that like Jonathan's just a psycho, and it's just been last like.
I am a psycho, but I had underneath it I had it underneath it, and I have it here. Victoria's seen it, and I think I showed Will too. No, I did show Will. It said "Must protect Will until Margaret's gone," and
Second Margaret's gone.
because I was like, I need him to get her out. It's just like chess, and so I
Yeah. I think everyone used that, like the Margaret versus Will. Like everyone was like,
her.
yeah.
And so as soon as she was gone, I was like, now I can get out Will. Thank you.
It was so weird because like after the Nick vote, he like made me feel like he was like I was like his number one, and he was like, yeah, I'll play the rest of the game with you. And I remember just like the second he told me about the Andrew flip, he's like, you fucking screwed me, so I'm not. And it's just like he revealed that like he was kind of like had this pent up anger against me. But after I voted with him, then he started trusting me again, and then we were friends again until I voted his ass out. So you know, I hope we're still friends because we got along in the game. So Mike,
What's Mike? Godfather
Notorious,
Mike.
yeah,
Notorious Mike. Yeah, Mike was something else, and on my to vote off list for a while, and would always say that he would never write my name down. But then,
yeah,
that's when everything was exposed to me. The Kiley kind of said that of her relationship with him, he admitted to voting, putting my name down, and so yeah, I was like, well, let that shield has had its time and it needs to go, because if you let Mike any closer, he can win his way to the end, especially because he just won two individual immunity challenges back to back.
yeah.
So I do like Mike, though. He's funny. He's some of the best times were how respectful he is to his family when they like, the interaction you'd see when on a call with him or whatnot. Um, and yeah, I mean, he was very enjoyable, but unnecessarily messy.
I had like I didn't speak much with Mike, but I definitely thought he was a very nice person. Very charming. And I remember like going into the because I only got to speak with him from one world, and I remember going into I guess the tribe swap, the three-way tribe swap, hearing everything that I'd heard about him from you, Jonathan. From then on, like everything he said, I was like, okay, yeah, like I can see how this is like a manipulation tactic, and I didn't really believe much of what he said, or I could see his motives. So I guess it was really hard to trust him, and I didn't really try and convince him often to, or I didn't try too hard to convince him that I was working with him. So we kind of had a strained relationship, but
Yeah, I mean, Mike, the first time I'm on a tribe with him, he votes me out, you know. That doesn't usually leave a good first impression, I've found. But yeah, so that kind of immediately soured to Mike anyway. And then from there, it's just was a lot of just us basically being like, we're not gonna vote together, but we could talk, I guess. And it never led to anything, obviously, but other than me, we wanting him out more and more. But you know, he tried. He really at least feigned that he thought that I would vote with him on something. But
yeah.
And then, of course, after Mike was his partner in crime,
Mhm.
Kiley.
Kylie.
I think Kiley would had 100 conversations with every single player in the game. So she definitely was like a well-known social threat. I liked Kiley a lot, and I think she thought I trusted her, which is why it probably hurt her, and it hurt me that I had to vote her out, and personally, but it's what had to get done, and I like playing the
Yeah.
game.
I liked Kylie, but
Yeah,
she even told me at Final Six when it was our one-on-one, she was like, "You're gonna win this game at this rate," and I was like, "Okay," and I was like, with the current trajectory, you're right, and so I could very much get to the end.
yeah,
So yeah, for me, it was very much easy for me to cut her because I knew even if I kept her in that extra round, she was gonna be the one going like gunning for me regardless.
yeah.
So for me, it was pretty simple.
Yeah, she allowed me. I mean, we had a great relationship. She allowed me to, again, I picked her in that as my first person in that tribe swap because I knew how social she was, and we spoke hours every night, pretty much. And so I knew more about her than I think I know about Victoria, and I
Yeah,
probably spent
exactly.
longer
Exactly.
with on call with Victoria than anyone else. But and so yeah, and really nice, and I appreciate her, and she's definitely someone who I would consider a friend of mine. But I know that she's not going to hold grudges. She's a
Kylie?
player,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and she's never been voted out before.
Yeah.
We gifted her with that.
Yeah.
You're welcome, Kylie. I'm sure you loved it.
Listen, you need to have the jury experience, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's
Yeah, the Ponderosa vibes. Yeah.
absolutely. So, and then next, oh God, this one was a hard one for me. This was really, really hard. Um, was McKenna.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started with McKenna. I think I said in my confessionals, like day one, McKenna's someone I want to work with. I have to figure out a way to get close with her. Um, and I kind of saw her leaning towards Mike.
Like, yeah.
And so when Victoria had told me about the vote on Micah, and then I went and spoke to um, McKenna on purpose to see if she would tell me anything, and she wasn't. Then that's when I said, cut the BS. I want to work with you. How do I get there? How do we become each other's like number ones? And then she opened up and told me everything that was going on, and really kind of, from then on out, was playing pretty closely with me.
Yeah, McKenna was, always promised her 5, and then I was like, when 5 happens,
Yeah.
we'll see. And we saw. Yeah, I mean, I really like McKenna, but it was like we both knew that we were on each other's radars, especially since we were the 2 names that kept being thrown around, and we kept having to say each other's names, that it kind of made it a bit easy. Like our last talk was basically like, good luck. It was the same with the Victoria one too. It was like, good luck. One of us is going home.
The classic, it's you or Michael. You or
Exactly.
Michael.
Exactly. From like final 8 on, it's like, good luck to you. You're trying to get out me, and it hasn't been successful for multiple rounds. So
And then, and then next, our last jury member, and this is the only one that, as hard as some of them were, I actually lost sleep over this. Like this, like
I did.
infiltrated my dreams. I feel terrible about it, and like genuinely wanted Victoria to win, but like
If it wasn't me, I would have wanted Victoria to win as well, which is why I had to vote her out.
yeah, I told Victoria, I was like, if I go out, I'm voting for you to win.
The same here. I would have voted for Victoria.
I told her that because I knew she was voting me, and I knew I was voting her. So it's kind of like, whatever. It's like, hopefully you'll vote for me at the end, but that's up to you. But
she was on call with me right up till the end. Like when she would dip out to speak to Connor, she'd come right back to me. Me and Victoria talked every day, all day. It was really like my game with her. My game was with her in this game. Like I feel like it was a partnership, but I had no chance. It's all about perception. And although I feel like I led Victoria in all those decisions, you'll hear about some of it tonight. But I don't know that anyone else would know that, and I don't know that I can explain that in such a short period of time to a full jury. So I feel terrible still about it. And if I ever play a game again with Victoria, I promise her I will give up my game, because I just but like you said, Connor, like, because she's able to play on everyone emotionally.
Yeah.
That's like the number one reason why you have to get rid of them, because if someone's affecting you emotionally, then you aren't going to win this game.
Like that's why it had to be Victoria, because I can just like picture, like I would definitely want Victoria to beat like any of the 3 of us. So like I think the jury would feel the same. So,
and I guess we should go, and then just it's like almost an hour and a half away, so
yeah,
get our things in order and figure it all out. And good luck. And I'll be like I said in my confessionals, I'm very happy with any of the 5 of us that were a 5 winning. And I definitely mean that. So congratulations to whoever wins this game.
Congratulations to whoever wins, yeah.
Yeah, congrats and good luck to all 3 of us. So,
all right, let's end this and get to it.
All right. Andrew, Parker, Margaret, Will, Mike, Kiley, McKenna, and Victoria voted out at the last tribal council. 39 days ago, I know it's hard to believe, 17 of you stepped onto the shores of Monte Carlo via Zoom with the same goal in mind, to earn the title of sole survivor. Connor, Jonathan, and Michael, you have made it to where 14 others could not. And tonight you will be explaining your case as to why you deserve the title of sole survivor and the prize money and pride that goes with it. I think you can all attest that this game is very hard, and rightfully so. The hardest step is saved for last. In a game of social relationships, challenges, and strategy, how can you vote people out and then get them to vote for you in the end?
All right, here's how it's going to work. Connor, Michael, Jonathan, each of you will have 5 minutes to give an opening statement. Then the jury will have an opportunity to address each of you however they would like. Each juror will have 10 minutes to ask you questions or give a statement, whatever they have prepared. I will hold up a card that says how much time you have left, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute. That way you can kind of keep track of where you're at. After the jury has addressed each of you, you will also have a chance for a closing statement. And then we will vote. Any questions? All right. Connor, you are up first for our first opening statement.
So, hello everyone, hello jury. So, as many of you guys already know, I was in the last season, and I didn't do too well on it. I was voted out 5th out of 16 people, and I left the game with kind of a burden on my shoulders, and that's and I knew that if there was ever an opportunity for me to come back and play again, I would come back in order to redeem myself. And so when I saw that the applications were rolling in, I took the opportunity to apply, and but something that you guys that actually none of you guys know about me is that I'm actually an aspiring professional poker player. My big dream in life is to play poker, and I didn't tell any of you guys. Going into the game, I wasn't sure if I was going to tell people, but after the first night when I didn't manage to tell anyone, it would kind of be weird to like go back on what I had said and then tell people. So I guess I was like, I'm rolling with it. I guess I'm not telling people. But I spent a vast majority of my time before this game studying to play poker, learning about poker. And when I wasn't studying or learning about poker, I was studying school and whatnot. So I spent all my time. And actually, funnily enough, I was 1 week late to reading my acceptance to the admission for this game because I didn't even have the time to do an arbitrary thing like check my email. But when I saw the email, I was pretty hesitant actually to join because I'm at a point in my life where I still have a lot to do. I have a lot to accomplish at this time. So I was hesitant to join. And I decided in the end that it was the right thing for me to play this game because I feel that I really just needed the opportunity to redeem myself. And I feel that thus far I have. But I did play the game with the notion that if I didn't end up winning and if I wasn't here to win, then like it's possible that I shouldn't even be here at all, which led me to making a lot of decisions that were, I guess, hard for me. I caught a lot of people who I was working closely with and who I did enjoy playing the game with, which made the game like honestly pretty no fun. But I wasn't gonna come here and ruin my chances at winning, which was the ultimate goal. I do genuinely believe that I played the best game. I won an individual immunity. I found 2 advantages, and I never received a single vote against me, which Jonathan and Michael can't say. And I had a perfect voting record the entire time. As you guys can tell, I'm super freaking nervous, as I always am. But I do believe that I played the best game, and I do believe that I have the I guess answers to back it. I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say. What you guys have to ask, and I'm excited to hear what Michael and Jonathan have to say as well about how they played the game.
All right, thank you, Connor. Jonathan, you're up next.
Speeding through it. Hello, jury members. I don't have much time, so I'll speed through this quickly. You may assume you already know how I got to the final three, but you may also have an idea as to why you think I got here. But it's by design that you don't. Most of my game has been hidden under the radar and behind the scenes. But don't confuse that with sitting idle and letting things happen. I've been leading the way each vote, finding those who are like-minded and aligned with my boot order list, or utilizing those whose ear I have. Let me pull back the curtain and show you how I am, without doubt, deserving of your vote. Let me remind you that I started out with a disadvantage, putting me in a situation where I needed to win my safety in the least favorable set of statistics in the game Night Moves. I took this opportunity to quickly align with others, and when we were placed in tribes, I found a few of my friends there. I had binge-watched last season and felt that I knew that if I had Connor or Victoria on my tribe, I could quickly connect and sell to them that I was a fan and wanted to go to the end with them. This is where almost immediately, surprise, surprise, I had my final two with Victoria. Unexpected close relationship that we kept under wraps and later utilized McKenna as the connection between us instead of us showing our cards. If you ever thought I was voting Victoria out until last night, you were wrong. After the ease of the Julia vote and Mike up to his ways of controlling the vote and the tribe, the reason I was not left out of the Micah vote is because of two people. I pretended that my skill set as a casting director allowed me to read body language and tells, which isn't completely untrue, but Victoria had informed me of the new plan and went on a call with McKenna later. Knowing that she wasn't telling me the full truth, I said, let's cut the BS, and she also spilled the beans to me, forming with me what I always wanted with her, a close final two relationship with McKenna as well. This is just one example of my many social connections in the game that allowed me to always be in the know and assure who I needed to leave the game was being voted out. Yes, not only did I vote correctly every single time, and I have been to more tribals than the other two, but each vote is exactly who I wanted to go. Both my confessionals and Victoria can attest to that. I pretended I was afraid of Mike and his power, so during the tribe swap as captain, I picked Kiley, knowing how socially connected she was and allowing that instant trust to form from this decision. I was thrilled to be on a tribe with not a single original tribe member of mine. I knew I could fester my way in, survive, and end up having connections to both groups. Although Margaret and Parker were also in a similar situation, they had each other and I was completely by myself. Again, I acted as if I was on the bottom, powerless, and could be used as a number come merge. And to prove it, here's all the info I have on everyone. After another tribal loss, Kyle left, making Mike weaker in numbers. Then assessing the situation at merge, Andrew's name came up. Granted, I just had to go along with that vote, but I knew how much of a threat he was, and he had to go next. Next was Parker, well-liked, aligned with Margaret, who was next on my list, and since someone I was working with has a little crush on him, he had to go. It's too dangerous to keep in the game. So I won several sequester-type minis before this and thrive in breakout rooms. I went to Will, asked him to say a name, knowing it would be Parker, jumped to Parker doing the same, knowing it would be Will, then immediately went to Will and told him, letting him know I was siding with him, but that it spread the, well, I heard it's Parker or Will, but it is Parker. This is also where placing myself in a room with Michael, someone who was vulnerable in the last vote, and Victoria, planting a seed for a final three. The next day, without me having to follow up, an alliance was formed. One we kept to the final four. I should also mention that part of my tactics was to never make an alliance, never give anyone the ability to pinpoint me being up to no good. If you caught on to me and I was aware of it, you were always the next to go. This happened round after round. I placed myself in a position where I was never going home, but had it in hand, if not leading the way of sending you home. Please ask me questions about this. I would love to respect your time in the game with an explanation as to how or why of your departure. Another important note is that I was on call with Victoria while we were going over the merge idol clue. Having already made my guess, Victoria was able to snatch it up when through mutual discussion we realized the answer, 52-13. Keeping the idol out of play for anyone else was key, and many nights I had to convince Victoria not to play the idol. We even came up with me taking off my glasses as being a signal for her to use it, but I knew it would be recycled and that socially we had to keep ourselves safe, so we need to keep it away from others. I was also later able to get from Connor that he had the 50-50, so knowing who had what advantage was also key to my position in the game. I have to admit, especially with the last 3 women being voted out, my connection to them is as genuine as they may think, and you will see in the voting booth how I agonized over these decisions. The short of it, you each would easily have beaten me in the end. I had to go with my original boot order list, and that was thought out logically and not emotionally. Victoria, emotionally, I wanted to lose the game to you, but I could not give you or Michael the opportunity to further build your resume. I hope you, McKenna, Kiley, and everyone else know how much I adore you and can forgive me for wanting to win this game more than anything else. As a chronically ill, socially awkward, introverted homebody, these games allow me to challenge myself in ways I can't participate in real life. Thank you for being a part of that, and I look forward to your questions. I will fight for this.
5 minutes right on the dot. Michael, you're next.
Hello, Jury. So mine's a little different, obviously, than these two. Were able to kind of go under the radar, didn't really have their name thrown out there. I obviously was in a very different position for basically the whole second half of the game. How I started was how I know I've played one game before and I've never played a long game like this, but I knew how I immediately get perceived as very unsocial, kind of awkward, and thus I used that initially at the beginning of Ruken to basically be like the almost invisible to people. And we even saw that early on with the Nick vote, where people like Will and Nick literally forgot for a while that I was even on the tribe and did not tell me until very last minute compared to everyone else. And I got to even get that information very quickly. And was able to pretty easily go through the beginning of the game. We were safe for a while, it was fine. And even then, I continue to be kind of as under the radar to the point of basically being forgotten. Even Kyle never messaging me before I proceed to then vote him out. Because he probably likely perceived me as someone with literally no power and had no influence. From there, obviously, is the Andrew vote, which I am not privy to. I will not lie and say that I knew. I did not. And so that obviously left me, Parker, and Margaret at the bottom. I know that Parker and Margaret are very well connected, and I am not comparatively. So what I have to do is create a lot of connections with a lot of people very quickly. So when Jonathan and Victoria basically can be a free ticket to be like, here's the final 3, use it, I'm going to obviously take it. And I initiate a group chat with the 3 of us so that they can't even go back on it and be like, hey, I'm with you. We are together on this. And from there, it's basically then I can rope in people who are also on the bottom and not as clear threats like Connor and McKenna, rather than work with people who I knew would also continue to view me as a threat, like Will, Mike, and Kiley. From there on, basically the whole time my name gets thrown out, Will, Mike, Kiley, McKenna, and Victoria, all 5 of you have written my name down before. So everyone that ever wrote my name down got the kiss of death of me and then left the game. And that was just never the right decision for you. Because every single tribal was safe. I knew my social awareness and knew where I stood with everyone to know where everyone was going to vote. And I knew that I would never go home. So I never had to ever act against it, since at that point it was whatever, as long as I'm not going home, if I see my name, all that means is that I now have more ammo to go against people. And that's how I viewed the game from then on out, to be an open threat, a shield that in theory should not make the final 3. People kept saying I was going to win if I'm sitting at the final 3. And yet here 2 people willingly brought me, even though I've never been safe, never had immunity, and never had a chance to just stay back and not go home.
All right, thank you, final 3. We now will give the jury an opportunity to talk to you for the first time, for some of them in quite a while. And we will start with our first juror, Andrew.
Oh, it feels good to talk. It feels good to talk. First, congratulations to you 3. You guys all did something that none of us here on the jury were able to do. So you should be very proud of that. Some of you should be proud of your gameplay. Others should not. And as like the little mayor of Ponderosa here, I just think it's good for everybody to know, of the finalists, that there truly is no consensus over who should win this game. So I think your answers, and as truthful as you can be, are very, very important, because that's going to determine who wins. So my first question is to Connor, my OG Ruken team member, who we had bonded pretty early on. We both were trying to solve clues together, and I thought we were good. I was a man of my word to you. What made it difficult for you to be a man of your word to me? Is my question to you.
So as I've already said, I'm always, every single decision that I made was strategically based. And since about approximately the merge, I had my idea in mind of the final four, which was the final four that ended up occurring, which is me, Michael, Jonathan, and Victoria. And you wanted to eliminate Victoria. And I wanted to eliminate Mike. If it was like, I'm throwing on Mike. So but if it was Mike, or maybe even McKenna, I would have voted with you, to be honest, and you probably would have, stayed in the game another round. But since it was Victoria, who was someone who I absolutely did not want to go, I had to flip on you. I feel like it was the best decision, and I think it's what got me here, inevitably so.
Okay. Michael, my other Ruken team member there, what would you say is the one move that you created, you championed, and rallied people behind to kind of do, and not a move that someone else brought to you? What would you say is your biggest move that you made this game?
I mean, I would say the biggest one was Will. I mean, I don't think I entirely that it was necessarily even brought to me. I do believe that because that couldn't have happened without me in it, and I had to actively pitch it, and I knew that Will was against me. I see the first three jurors. I know that if things go as they are, it's the fourth. And obviously other people were also aligned on that idea, but that definitely was not just something where I was like, that's not like something where I just didn't think of it and didn't pitch it and didn't actively promote to getting that done. It's what I also wanted and knew was best for my game to move myself forward. So yeah, that's probably the very first one where I absolutely pushed it to do what I want no matter what.
So Jonathan, who of the remaining two finalists do you think is your biggest threat to winning this game, and why?
It's Michael. It's the notion that he has done something other than just survive, and has those friendships and those relationships from before that. I wasn't at the start of the game with all of you. I was somewhere else. I am the last Serpone surviving member, so it's he definitely is the biggest threat. But I think if you think about it logically, you will see a clear-cut winner in this game. There is someone who led decisions, took big risks, did what they needed to do to win, and that's me.
Yeah, Jonathan, you played a great game. To my former Ruken members, I promise to never write down a name of a Ruken member, and I won't be doing that tonight. So Jonathan, congratulations. You're the clear winner in my eyes, and I hope that everybody remembers what Connor says at every tribal, which is please don't vote me. I think you'll get that wish tonight, Connor. Bitter is better, 2022.
Andrew, thank you. Parker, it is your turn. The floor is yours.
An act to follow up. Hey there, everybody. It's been a while. I have two challenges for myself tonight. Y'all have a challenge of getting our votes. My challenge is one, to not make this go over 10 minutes, and two, for my internet not to cut out. So we're going to hope. If I have to move to another room, I apologize, host, but that may be what happens. All three of y'all should be proud of your games. More importantly, I think y'all should know each of us come to this game with something that we want to prove to ourselves. And I hope no matter what happens tonight, whatever happened throughout the course of this game, you three got out of this experience what you were looking for, truly. Now, that being said, I won't lie. These past few tribals have been nauseating. Tonight, you three cannot give the tribal answers you've been giving at nauseum, the nonsense answers. Tonight, if you want our votes, you need to own it. You need to give actual answers, and you need to own your game. And I just want you all to know that straight up. It is anybody's game, but if any one of you gives the nonsense tribal answers, you will not get my vote. Now, with that being said, I have the same question for all three of you. The name of this game is Outwit, Outplay, Outlast. Obviously, all three of you did that. You outlasted, outwitted, outplayed all of us. But let's take it a step further. I'm going to ask each of you to name one person you specifically outwitted, one person you specifically outplayed, and one person you specifically outlasted, and then give a brief reason as to why. Now, for clarification, you obviously outlasted all of us. What I mean is somebody that you needed to vote off, either because them being in the game would have made it harder for you to make the end, or someone, if you had not taken them out, they would have taken you out. So you had to take the first shot. So that is what I mean by outlast. So yeah, and it cannot be the same name for all three. I need a different name per answer. We'll go in alphabetical order. Connor, I'll start with you.
I'm going to say that somebody I outwitted as actually, I'm going to say I want to say it's actually Kiley, because going into each round, I had her, I guess, believing that, it's going to suck, but I had her believing that I was going to take her, and she believed that I was going to go, she wanted to go farther with me in the game. Or she at least believed that I thought, I was going to take her. And so I going into each round, I think she trusted in me. Okay, apparently I'm wrong, according to some faces, but yeah, she never voted me. Nobody ever voted me, and I think that she would have gone, and it was pretty brutal that I ended up voting for her, and I feel bad about that. But I think that I did a good job of convincing her that I would vote for her. I'm not sure if she would take me based on her reaction, but I did a pretty good job of convincing her that I would take her, which I believe she believed. Outplaying, I have to say a specific person.
Yeah.
That's one. I'm gonna say, I guess. Well, I'm gonna say, I guess, Michael, because I found an advantage, and he didn't know that I had the advantage, or I guess that's a pretty shitty answer, but I played. I found the most advantages. I won a challenge. So I think that I did pretty well on the outplay aspect of the game. I had a difficult time, I have a difficult time pinpointing one person that I guess beat in a challenge or something. But yeah, I guess there's that. And Outlast, I'm going to say Andrew, because I think that he wouldn't have taken me to the end. I think if it was, us, the Rue Ken group, I don't think he would have taken me. So I think it was good that I, got him out early. Obviously, I'm going first, so I had the least time to think about it. So
I appreciate that, Connor. Thank you very much.
Tough question.
Jonathan?
I think so. It's hard because I think many people do fall under this category for me, but I think that outwit, I would have to say Mike. Mike kind of played himself, but I allowed him to think that he brought me in the competition, if you remember, from the first round to the second round, and I cut him in the third round. Yet he still and Kiley thought that I was going to vote for them, even though I hadn't been, and I still didn't next round. Yet they kept always thinking that I was going to be on their side. So I was kind of playing within kind of what they thought and they wanted, and convincing them. And I also told them I did it by mistake, thinking that Victoria was bad at puzzles. It came to me really quick because she was on that previous puzzle game with me and didn't do so well. So I think I just outwitted them in that respect. Outplay, I would say probably Will, because Will was someone that I used as a, like, I'm on your side. This is what's happening. Parker saying you're saying Parker, I got you. Then I did hear Will was next on my list anyway. I had a whole list and a little diagram of people protecting Margaret. And then as soon as I was taking them out, I had protect Will. Remember, I told you this, Will. Protect Will until Margaret is gone. He doesn't know that rest, the second part. But so as soon as Margaret was gone, Will, you were my target. And so I do feel like I outplayed you in the sense of, I heard you said my name that round as well, briefly. I think Kiley shot it down. As I always had people shutting it down if you said my name. And then Outlast, I would say Victoria. Victoria was going to win this game. I outlasted her. I needed to vote her out at the end. Otherwise, hands down, I think it would be a clean sweep for Victoria, or very close to one. So those are my answers.
Thank you, Jonathan. Michael?
So I guess with outwit, the person that I would say immediately comes to mind was Mike, particularly because of something he said immediately after the will vote, was that, oh, I didn't even know you were playing the game, basically was the gist of it, which, as far as I'm concerned, up to that point only worked in my favor. So I'm so under the radar that he doesn't even know that I'm doing. He doesn't know that I was actively working against him. Clearly, he must have thought that I was voting McKenna at the prior tribal, or else, and thought that I was going home. So then that's my idea. Outplay, I would say, is Margaret, because I knew that having a shield that's there for me, that's going to get voted out before me, realistically was just in my best interest. And although I do really like you, Margaret, I also know you're much better socially than I am, and I cannot take that away from you. And so you had way better connections than I did, and I was fully aware of that. So I was treating you as a shield. So especially once the Andrew vote happened, I knew at the very least you and likely Parker would both be going before me, and have the time to create relationships and create trust with people so I could keep moving forward. And then Outlast, I would just say McKenna, I feel like the final five vote was the key vote for me, where if I couldn't survive that, clearly I'd been doing something wrong. And clearly I had misread whatever. This was in the final group of McKenna, Victoria, and Jonathan possibly being some final three or something. But once I knew that McKenna was going, then it was pretty much, I knew guaranteed I was going to the final three, and I would at least have the opportunity to plead my case and actually have a chance of winning this game.
Thank you to the three of you. Tough question. It was designed to be, but I appreciate all of y'all answering honestly and earnestly. Good luck to each of you.
All right, thank you, Parker. Margaret, you're up next.
Hello, gentlemen. Congratulations for making it where I could not. And I mean, y'all need to be proud of yourselves, because this was hard. My mental health improved once I was out of the game, honestly. So, Michael, I was definitely curious about if, I was like, I need to know what moves were getting made, because I was like, it didn't seem like you were sleepwalking, but I was like, was he ever in charge of anything? So I am happy that you had your villain origin story moment. So was there anything else you did that you were really proud of, as far as something that was your move or you helped like co-found it or something?
Well, I feel like every move basically up to this point, since I knew that I was getting voted out, obviously I was getting out the targets that I wanted at every single tribal, and it worked out for me from that point on. So as far as I'm concerned, I was kind of othering those moves, even though other people were on the same page as me. Saying that I also had no agency in those moves would just be incorrect, because obviously these people were against me and wanted me out, and all of them were unable to do so. So basically, Will, Mike, Kiley, McKenna, and Victoria, I would say I had a major hand in being able to do that by playing dumb and almost pretending that I'm not actually that threatening, in order for them to almost forget that everything that's being said prior about how I could easily win this game.
Got it. Jonathan, I should have listened to you when you said Sandra was your queen, because you played that game. You played it well. I wish we had had a tribal opportunity before merge, because maybe I wouldn't have been on your hit list. So was there ever a moment where you were in charge of getting someone out, or did you get other people to be in charge for you most of the time?
Even though you may not have seen it, and many may not have seen it, me and Victoria were running most votes, if not, the vast majority of them. There was a few that, we just found people that aligned with us, and it was like, great. But I had a list. It was early on, and everyone went accordingly. It was by design. My game, not threatening. Did I get a couple votes? Mike, thank you very much. But who's just messing around with the game. But at the same time, a key factor. I spent 4 to 6 hours every night on calls with people. A lot of it was with Victoria. And, every single day, planning, plotting, making lists up and coming up with how I was going to be perceived and what was happening next round and the round after. I spent so much time in this game that I desperately want you all to see how deserving I think I am of this. So yes, if you ask, was I running a lot of the vote outs? I believe I was. And of course, with the help of many others. But again, at the end of the day, it was everyone who I wanted to go when I wanted them to go. And I even had contingencies if, individual immunity was one, but we lucked out with winning when we needed to win and keeping that idol away from people because we knew where it was, and getting to the end. And that's what I did.
Got it. Connor, I'm
Mad at me?
I just find it interesting that when Victoria got voted off,
Yeah.
you think you have OG Ruken on your side.
OG, I don't. So I absolutely don't think I have OG Ruken on my side. I think that
I didn't finish my question.
Okay, sorry.
We did not talk, like, let's be real, we didn't talk like at all, really. We don't have much of a game relationship.
Yeah.
So, and because of that, my perception was you were in the right position to hear who was going from the people who wanted to tell you, at least within half an hour of tribal. But maybe that perception's wrong. So was there anything that was your move that you created?
Yeah, I think from final 7 about onwards, I think that most of it was my move. I think Jonathan and Victoria were kind of listening to me because they were afraid that I had an advantage. So they kind of did what I wanted to say and they moved where I wanted to move because they didn't want to. I guess they were a little bit afraid of me. So I do solemnly believe that, I can tell that you're giving me the eye and stuff. But I do like legitimately believe that that was the case. They weren't going to vote me out. I did everything, as I said earlier, the final 4 was absolutely my plan, and it was the plan that I put into motion. And everything I did up to that point was all me, and it was I made every correct logical decision in order to get to this final 4 and eventually this final 3. I legitimately believe that. I'm not like.
I believe that you believe that.
Oh, come on.
So thank you.
All right.
Good.
Thank you, Margaret. Next up, we have Will.
Hi, guys. I'm very, very happy to see the 3 of you there. Really impressive games in their own way. All of you at one point or another, except, we all voted together at some point during the game. So congrats again. Connor, I'll start with you, man. I thought, we had a really good relationship, and when I say this, I mean it. Like, I'm super happy to see you in the finals. Like, that made me happy because I felt like at least some part of my game ended up at the end, just because I wasn't ever going to write your name down until it got to the end for me. So I wanted to carry you as far as I could go, and hopefully, kind of get you to the position you're in now. I'm a little sad to see how your answers are going so far. Hopefully you can turn it around. So I'll just give you a layup here. So at what point did you decide that I wasn't on your side, or you couldn't see a path forward with me? And did you want to take me out when I went, or is that because you say, you felt like you kind of led the votes? Is that something that you spearheaded, or did that fall into your lap? Did you want to take me any further, or is that like the time you had to take me? Like, that's kind of what I want to know.
So the U vote was not spearheaded by me, but I was something that I did see was the best. And it wasn't. The rest of them were, but this one wasn't. But it was absolutely a jury thing. I knew that I wasn't going to beat you in the end, and I knew that ultimately I knew that you were working closely with Mike and Kiley, and my goal was to get to that final 4. And every single decision that I made was strategically. I knew that, my name was never out there. So I knew that I was trying to advocate for, other people to get there with me. And I was trying to, I saw that leaving you could potentially jeopardize that potential final 4 getting there. And also, like, I never intended to take you to the end. I'm sorry. I would have liked to see you like come further in the game with me because we were close and stuff. But it was that one was not, but I did agree with it. But
Okay.
That was by no means spearheaded by me.
No, it was
I
clear.
It was the best move though.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you for that. All right. So Jonathan, excellent job. First of all, I will say that I want to know, did you specifically tell everyone that you would never write their name, or that you wouldn't write their name down right before each vote? Did you do that with every single juror?
Pretty much, yeah. The only time that I was really, really lying to someone was to ensure, listen, I couldn't have any crazy things happen. So I needed to ensure that you believed you were staying before you went home. And I did that with everyone pretty much. And I have no apologies for that. That's part of the game for me. I tried not to cross lines with that and be respectful as much as I could. But people wanted to jump on calls with me just before they were going. And I avoided where I could avoid, and then just, say, yes, of course, without like really trying to sell it beyond somewhere that was mean or something. It's part of the game for me, and I will not make apologies for that. I needed to make sure that you thought you were going home so that you couldn't turn it on me. Anyone couldn't turn it on me.
Absolutely. Makes sense. Thanks for that answer. Michael, we never really had a working relationship in the game, but I can appreciate you making the moves you did and getting to the finals. It's quite impressive, especially when, a group of people were gunning for you 2 votes in a row, which I'm sure you knew. The previous one with the Margaret vote, we were trying to flip that one on you. So I knew that word would get around, and it's impressive to see you recover from that. And when you were left on the short side of the stick as far as the vote was concerned out at the merge. So good job with that. At what point did you feel like you were in control of this game post merge? From your perspective?
I felt certain that I had decent control over this game once you went home. From there, I knew that Mike and Kiley were going to be immediate targets and would be going out soon. And I knew that I had built a close relationship with Connor, Jonathan, and Victoria, where I simultaneously played kind of dumb, but also was getting everything I wanted to guarantee that I'd be sitting at least in the final 4. And then with those 2 separate final 3 deals, with the current final 3 now, and then with the one with Victoria, I knew that I was likely going to be sitting here at this final 3. So that was the main time. That was when I was certain that I had true control of where the direction of the game and to get me to where I wanted it to be.
Thank you. All right. Thanks, everyone. I appreciate it. Again, good game.
Mr. Mike Reick in the suit and tie. You're up, my sir.
It's pronounced Rick, but thank you. I want to first and foremost congratulate you guys for making the final 3, something none of us could do. I also want to congratulate Productions. You guys had a great season. I know for you guys, you want it to be good. You want people to watch it. And I feel like every single one of us is excited to show everyone we know that we played Survivor, and it was great. I have one question for one person. I have more statements to say. You guys know me, I talk a lot. The first thing I want to say is everything that I say is completely game related. You guys are all awesome people. Don't take offense personally. I love this game. I like watching this game. I like big moves. You guys know how I am. Connor, I want to tell you, I believe that you played the absolute perfect game for 3rd place. You sat there, and here's what it comes down to for me. Jonathan was never on my side. Connor was never on my side. Michael was never on my side. We can all agree with that. But what 2 of you did was the people you didn't need, you didn't make relationships with them. Connor, we didn't have a conversation last more than 3 minutes, and that wasn't because of me. Ask everyone else. I could talk until the cows came home. Michael, you did a little bit of a better job trying to talk to me, and I know it was a little bit like pulling teeth because we knew we'd never work together. You did a little bit of a better job than Connor did. But Jonathan, I want to give you credit because you and I would go into my confessional and said, oh yeah, I talked to Kiley, I talked to Will, and I danced with Jonathan. That's what I would say. Because we would just get on a call and we would dance around and play the game. And we were playing charades basically. But you never had me in your plans, but you took the time to get to know me, know about me to the point where you knew me probably so well that you knew what I was probably going to do in the game because you knew me personally, something that those 2 never took advantage of. So yeah, what it comes down to for me is there's a lot of people in the game that I wasn't planning on working with either, but I think I did a good job of making the time to get to know them, to, see where they were. Who knows, down the road, I might've needed them, right? You did that. The other 2, Michael and Connor, sorry, you didn't do that. And that's why I wore the Z on my head. You make me fall asleep. Jonathan, my question's for you. you seem to have the best grasp on every single thing that's happened in this game. Not to say that Connor didn't know what was going on or Michael, but you seem to know every single thing that was going on. I'm shocked to know the people you were working with. I had no idea you were strategizing that hard. I thought you would go to work, come home, go on your elliptical, and then, call it a night, but you were playing the game. My question is, with the grasp that you have on the game, how do you think that Victoria would have beaten you? Because I just want to throw it out there, and maybe this will help you moving forward. I think for almost everyone, Connor and Victoria were in the same kind of like group where like it would have been extremely hard for either of them to get anyone's votes. So I want to know what you saw that made you think that Victoria would have beat you, because I don't see her getting a vote, let alone the clean sweep you speak of. So.
Yes, Mike, Kevin, Rick. I definitely, made the rounds and made all of my relationships are real in this game. So of course I was going to speak to people at length, even if they weren't part of my long-term game. Specifically with Victoria, Victoria's game and my game are very similar. I just feel like, she was a great person to collaborate with, and we came up with a lot of this together. Do I feel like I led the way in a lot of those decisions? Absolutely. Was she asking me more questions on how to do stuff than I was with her? Absolutely. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I think I won this game now, or with other people in this potentially, but I think it's all about perception. And I knew that people like Victoria. And earlier today, Connor was telling me that he would have voted Victoria no matter what if she made it to the end. Michael, we were talking about that as well. And so it's all about perception. So Victoria could come, say a lot of things that I was saying, be accurate about it, and potentially get that win. So I thought I had the bigger sell because I played the middle more. I played the bad guy more. I was someone who had to betray people. And unfortunately, I don't think anyone else had to do that as much as I did. So I could lose because of that. But I don't want you to underestimate Victoria's game as well, because she's not, given the opportunity to explain it all like I am today. But a lot of it was very, very similar to mine. And again, I do feel like I led the way, though.
Good answer. I don't remember your middle name. Just goes to show you played this so well. But I don't have any more questions for Michael or Connor. If there's anything, we have 5 minutes. If there's anything specifically you'd like to say to me, I will leave the floor open. If not, we'll move it over to Kiley, because I'm sure she's excited to talk to you guys too. Connor, Michael, anything
I'd
you
just
want
like to say, I guess I didn't really have the time to speak as much, to play, to make as many meetings with people, because I did have a lot like on my plate. Like I know like that's like poker and school and stuff, but it was mostly like you that I excluded, because I felt like every conversation that we had, I felt that I knew I wanted you out of the game, and I felt that it would be like ingenuine to try and like convince you. And I felt like once I voted you out, it would feel kind of, indecent to try and, convince somebody that I was kind of gunning for the entire time. So that it was mostly you that I was like kind of
and I knew that.
Yeah.
I mean, like all I will say is like Jonathan wanted me out since probably the second vote, but he, again, like he blew me away. Like I love Jonathan, and like I was happy when he voted me out. I was like, let's go. Like it was like a friend did a good thing. Yeah. You were proud of them.
Yeah.
But like I know you live in Ottawa. That's it. I know you go to school. I know you live in Ottawa. And now I know you like poker. We're getting somewhere, but it's a little too late.
If you're voting based off of like personal relationships, I understand. Like,
I'm voting based on game, but they coincide in my mind. But Michael, is there anything?
If you're voting based on game, hopefully I still have the opportunity to convince you.
I'm gonna keep listening for sure. Okay, Michael.
Yeah, I'll just say we obviously got off on the very wrong foot, because basically the first tribal go together, you vote me out. And so it was kind of just a situation of pulling teeth, as you said. So trying to get us on the same page just realistically was an impossibility. And so playing that type of game, even when we both knew we wanted each other out, was very difficult. Basically from like meeting, that's how that was. And I feel like I did actively try and work on you to try and at least build some kind of relationship, even though obviously it was likely not going to be a working one. Um, if you don't feel I did enough, I apologize. That's on me. But I felt I did actively try and put in work with you to make sure at least something was there. So knowing that when you were likely going to be on the jury, there's at least some basis for you wanting to vote for me.
But I'm going to listen to everything, answer these questions, guys.
I appreciate
We have a crazy jury who's excited. And, everybody's going to take everything you say into consideration because we've been excited to hear you guys play the game. All right. Kyler's turn.
All right. Thank you, Michael Kevin Reick. Sorry for mispronouncing your name all season. I will now turn it over, as he said, to Mrs. Kiley Kelly.
I would like to go on record and say that Ian said the F word, not me. Okay.
It was me.
Congratulations. Congratulations to all three of you. First, I just want to start by asking a question that I want all three of you to answer, and then I'll kind of go from there with my thoughts. All right, so tell me your most, no. Tell me this. In my opinion, I think that you all three played a very, very similar game. You all voted exactly the same from the Margaret vote on. And so to me, like, it's really hard for me to see what makes you a lot different from the person next to you. So I want you to tell me what makes you the winner over the other two people. Jonathan, you can go first.
Thank you. Good to see you. If we want to not include all the votes that I was leading past the Margaret vote, then let's go before that. And I took the big leap. I picked in that schoolyard pick a new you and picked essentially a new tribe is what ended up happening with that. I knew that was very likely. I took big risks with that. I, was able to, again, as I mentioned earlier, I won the night moves against a few people here even. And so I put myself in a position of being in the know, winning when I needed to, and taking big risks all before we even got to merge. And then after there, I just put all the pieces together and did what I had to do, which I feel like I did better than the other two. But again, if you just want to count everything before that, I don't know that they took risks like I did. So, I think that's deserving in itself.
Thank you. Michael?
So for me, I think the big one is obviously I was basically a big shield that was blocking the other 5 from getting votes for a large portion of Final 8 on. And I think a big part of why my game is good in that respect is that you're supposed to get rid of your shield eventually if you have one. And both of these two failed to do so, even though I was never immune. And they had multiple opportunities to get rid of me whenever they want, knowing that people were saying that I was a threat and had close members on the jury. So that's, I think, the main big difference is it was very open that I was someone who, if I get to the end, I could be a threat to win. And yet I still was able to socially maneuver myself to the point where no one actually was able to take the shot successfully. So I think that's the big difference.
Thank you. And Connor?
I'm going to get a little dirty here. The reason I played different from Jonathan is because he made like essentially a fatal blunder in choosing Kiley. Actually, I think he was probably definitely gone had he lost immunity. So I think he would have easily been eliminated. And the reason that I've decided to take him this far is the fact that since he made that blunder, I figured that everyone would see him kind of as less of a threat and less of a jury threat. Obviously, that's a little bit wrong, but I do think that I had the control to eliminate him. And the thing about what sets me apart from Michael is that I basically essentially kept Michael in the entire game, and I don't think he would be here without me wanting to essentially drag him here. I know that's dirty, and I still like you guys, but that's the hard truth. So.
All right, thank you. So first, let me address you, Connor. We had a conversation where I told you not voting Michael out would be a $300 mistake, and I'm going to stand by that. Very, very big miscalculation on your part, letting Michael get to the end.
Who do
So
you think I should have taken instead?
you should probably, listen to the things that people are warning you about, because most of the time they're rooted in the truth.
Yeah.
All right, thanks. I don't need you to respond to it. All right. Jonathan, I absolutely freaking adore you. You know that. You're probably the only one I have a little bit of saltiness towards, because I do think we had such a good connection. And so I was very genuine when I said I would not write your name down, even to the point of like, you made the comment about how you thought you kind of like played me and Mike, and that, you thought that we were going to vote with, or that we thought you would vote with us. We never thought that you were going to vote with us. We knew that you were just kind of our only hope. So that is why I told you about mine and Mike's pre-existing relationship that y'all may not be aware of, Michael and Connor, that Mike and I are actually really good friends, and we've played a game together before. So you're a little mistaken there, in that we definitely didn't actually think that you were going to work with us. We were just hopeful. But I was genuine in that I would never write your name down, and you were not, and I'm going to probably hold true to that. So Michael, with my remaining time, I want you to tell everybody how you were able to use your social connections, that people told you that you were going to be the name that was also getting thrown out, and how you managed to get yourself out of being voted out multiple times.
So quickly, I made a close connection with Jonathan and Victoria right before then, and obviously people knew about my relationship with Connor. And then a big thing was my talk with McKenna, basically right at the final 8, like after that challenge, that talk that was basically like an hour long, basically us pitching the same plan. As far as I'm concerned, at that point, we were wanting the same thing, which was for Will to go home. And so from there, I basically acted as kind of this bold, like I was like, come at me, at like all of y'all, like you're gonna see it. Like I very much played into that, almost to the point of showing an ego, as far as I was concerned, to make me less threatening than if I was actively working against people, trying to like do like little schemes with everyone. Because I thought, due to my name already being out there so much and so easily able to be taken out, I needed to play kind of dumb, kind of stupid, play into the I just like to get high and do whatever type of vibe that I sometimes have. So that was my main goal in doing that, and I think it worked very successfully, because people were, even though they knew I was a threat, they just kept keeping me around, because I was quote unquote non-threatening for them, even though multiple people had said that I am a threat. So that was what I was actively doing within that 5.
All right, thank you very much. Jonathan, Michael, it's going to be really hard to decide between y'all, but like I said, Jonathan, I said I wouldn't write your name down. Michael, I've written your name down so many times, I think that you deserve for me to write it one more time. So congratulations to all 3 of you.
Thank you, Kiley. McKenna, you are next.
Long time no talk, everybody. My question, you guys all know I'm a big reader, and a book that I've read recently is called The Ideal Team Player. While this is not a team game, the book talks about 3 essential virtues that you should find in a person, and I think any well-rounded person is hungry, humble, and smart. Obviously, you've proved that you're hungry because you made it to the end. You've obviously proved that you're smart because you've made it to the end. But I would like to see you show some humility. You can pick any point in the game. Questions for everybody. Part of humility is admitting mistakes and regrets. So can you tell me one thing that you regret, or one mistake you think you made in your gameplay? Start with Connor.
Okay, so before going into this, I figured there's one mistake that I had in mind, which is actually the Zoom chat that I had with you, McKenna, which is where I hadn't really developed a relationship with you yet, and I actually let it slip that there was a flip, and I realized that there was no real reason for you to believe me, and then immediately you went and told I believe it was you who told Andrew about the flip that was occurring. And no? Okay. Well, then I'm completely off. But okay, but it was like it kind of like put our relationship on a rocky start. And now obviously I know that I didn't, put enough time into the game as much as I should have in order to be able to win. And I betrayed people, and I left people, I guess, like feeling bitter towards me. So that, I guess, that's another mistake. But I think other than that, I played a pretty perfect game. So
Michael, I'll switch it up a little bit.
I think for me, a mistake that I made pretty early on probably was not talking as much with Will and Kiley, or else I probably would have known about the Andrew vote going in. And then as a result, I would have been aware of it. I've said it to a couple people before, and I do stand by the fact that I probably still wouldn't have voted out Andrew anyway, because for me, that would not have been my ideal move in that moment. I don't think it would have been the right move for me. And I think for Ruken, it kind of caused us to implode for a lot of the early merge. And as you see, 4 people in a row got voted out. So that for me, I think is an early mistake of mine that I basically, by the time the merge happened, they were now against me and I wasn't able to remedy. But hopefully they can see with my game that I've made a lot of other relationships and really actively tried to then from there realize that I need to do more than just trust in a couple people and hope to get to the end. So yeah, that's the big one, I think.
Thank you. And Jonathan.
I would like to talk about regrets more than mistakes, because when I laid out my game in front of me and it has gone according to plan, I mean, I think it would be silly for me to say that any of that was a mistake, more so than there are regrets along the way. I mean, sure, we could have, I would have liked to have kept maybe Micah in longer, because I, really enjoyed him, and maybe Elijah as well, to see how that would have played out. I don't think any of what I had done was a big mistake, other than like certain relationships being how they were. There are certain regrets that I have with that. I don't know that I have the answer to how to have fixed those. If I'm not getting Kiley's vote, that's a mistake. That's a regret. I also thought, and to explain that, I also thought that Michael's not someone I wanted out because I don't personally think that he's threatening. I think it undermines, Andrew and Margaret and Parker thinking that they would just vote for Michael just because they know him longer. So that to me is not a valid kind of assessment as to why Michael is such a threat. And I didn't need to get him out because I didn't think he was a shield or anything like that. So that's but I regret Kiley's perception of that, and I do not regret any of relationships that I've built and any kind of moves that I've made. I'm unapologetic for a lot of that. But if I hurt anyone, or if they feel like I went beyond any sort of limits or crossed a certain line, then I absolutely do regret that, because I do hope to build upon the relationships that I've made in this game. I do think of you, most of you, as actual friends that I can have outside of here, and I will take the time to reflect upon my time here and really assess kind of maybe what mistakes, if I don't win tonight, or what further regrets I may have. So, I mean, that's not something I can easily just come up with, but I'm sure there are some, for sure.
Thank you. I don't have any other thoughts. No thoughts.
All right, McKenna, thank you. And we have one juror left. Miss Victoria, the floor is yours.
Hello, congratulations on making the final 3. I am an econ major, so I'm not the most creative person. So I'll borrow a question I liked from Survivor Exile Island, which was asked by Michael Zucker. So I would like y'all to get a piece of paper and write down the number of votes you think you have from this jury. And I'll want y'all to hold it up at the same time, and then I'll give you a chance to explain yourself. Are we ready? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so there's 7 votes total. So there's 8 people on the jury, and we have 2 people that think they're gonna lose. So I guess I'll start with Michael. Could you explain why you think you'll get those votes?
The one vote that I will say that I confidently have is Kiley, because according to her, she is voting for me. I think saying necessarily that anyone else is voting for me is not necessarily something I'm just going to say I expect. It is something I hope. If you're asking how many I hope I get, it's all 8 of you, or at least 7, since Andrew is not voting for me, as he has confirmed. But that is how I view it, and that is how I am answering the question. Hopefully I answered it accurately enough for you. Yeah. That's just where I am at with it.
Connor?
I think I have you who specifically vote I have.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say Will, and I'm gonna say yours as well, Victoria, because I think that we had this bond like going into Survivor Exile or being Survivor Exile Island alumni. I think that I want to see you win personally. Like I even said it in a confessional that I want to see Victoria win if it's not me, so I guess there's no turning back. And I sincerely would have voted for you, and I thought that we had this. I believe that you were the biggest threat to win, and I would have voted for you in the end. And I hope that you would return the favor. Obviously, I think that I have played the best game so far, and I know that some people might vote differently based on personal relationships and stuff. So I hope that more people vote for me. But obviously, I guess the relationship aspect might not win me the game, but I absolutely do deserve to get more than just 2 votes.
Jonathan?
I think I have Andrew's vote, basically because he said so. Margaret is, me and her are vibing tonight. Let me tell you, she knows what's going on. I could tell by your reactions. And I greatly appreciate it. I hope that I have McKenna's vote and friendship beyond this. And I do think that I have Mike's vote. And I mean, if we want to talk about hopes as well, Parker, Will, you're very smart people. I know you know and saw my moves. So I do think that I could potentially get some of theirs as well. But Victoria, I know that if I was in the same situation and you did me dirty like I did you, I would still be voting for you at the end of the day, because I think we connected as people, as fellow castaways, and just partners in this game too well not to vote for each other. So I do hope that you know my game more than anyone, the good, the bad, everything. So I do hope to have yours as well.
Okay. And then I just have a question at Final 4. Did you lead that vote, or did you just follow along with Connor's plan?
The plan was, as you know, that if Connor was safe, you thought it was to get out Michael. But if Connor was safe, and that's why I was kind of trying to hint towards you that it's just a game, and that fight and convince Connor and all of that, because I was trying to convince myself to keep you, honestly. And I knew that I couldn't. And I want this game so badly. And I hope that I've expressed tonight how much this means to me, that I need every single vote. And I do think that you and I played too similarly to split that. I'm the last surviving member of Serpone, and I needed to be here by myself. I'm sorry.
And then I have a question for Michael and Connor. Do you regret not voting out Jonathan at Final 4? So Michael.
I guess, yeah, now knowing that as far as the jury was concerned, I thought you two did play. I knew you two played pretty similar games. I mean, I knew that you clearly pulled me in as a third. I wasn't unaware of that when you did bring the final 3 initially to me, and then when I put it out there, that's not something I was just ignoring. I know that there's now 2 Serpone, and I'm just a third person who has gotten to know them a lot less comparatively. So that was maybe a misread of mine. Maybe I should have not viewed your challenge wins and your immunity idol find as much of yours, and maybe it should have been more equal credit. but I do still stand by that decision because I have also said to Jonathan, if you were in the final three, and I've told you this, I would vote for you, and I stand by that fact. Because as far as I was concerned, knowing how I react to things, Jonathan promised me too much where if he then voted me out, I'd be disrespected and would never vote for him personally, just of how I am as a jury member. And maybe that was short-sighted, but that's how I viewed it.
Connor?
So I personally do think that up until that point, you had played a much better game than Jonathan. I think that Jonathan was expendable. He was in with a lot of people, but I think he was expendable for most of the game and had quite a good chance of going home, as I did not. Knowing that he's had a very good final travel pencil performance, maybe I would have changed my mind. But I do think that you played the best game, and knowing what I knew, I think I made the best decision. But he's had a good performance. But I do not think he's had the game to back his performance, but
Okay. Congratulations to all three of you. Good luck.
All right. Thank you, jury. I think we had a very great conversation. Lots of great questions from all 8 of you. And we will now give the final 3 an opportunity to address you one last time before we go to vote. Michael, you can go first.
Okay, so I stand by my game. I'm quite proud of my game, regardless of how I place at this point, although I hope that I will win. But I feel I've gotten everyone out that I needed to get out when I did, and I was the only one who, coming into the merge, then immediately fell to the bottom and was able to scramble myself into a position of power from somewhere where I had none. And I feel like that's something that is impressive and something that no one else was able to really do within even the final 5 of us. So that's something I will be taking. I personally feel I was their shield for basically all the rest of the final 5 for a lot of the time, where my name kept coming around and I was able to never get voted out. And I feel like, knowing that threat, they should have taken me out before this. If I win, awesome. If I don't, still awesome. I'm glad to get to know all of you. I think we do like, I will give Jonathan credit, also has played a good game, and I do consider a good competitor. But I hope that with all the questions that have been asked and with everything that we've said, you do consider me as someone you could vote for. And yeah, see you all in this. Bye.
Thank you, Michael. Connor, you're up.
So I played this game. I never received a vote. I don't think I was ever close to going home. I won immunity. I found 2 advantages. And I think that I played. I've been very nervous this whole time, but I do think that I played the absolute best game. I was never ever going home, and I know that there are people here who's, I didn't have the opportunity to, build good enough relationships. But I think if you look at the game and if you watch it back, you will regret not voting for me if you don't. But I am glad to play to have played with all of you. So.
All right. Thank you, Connor. Jonathan?
Let me get my glasses out. It's the eldest one here. Okay. So there was a lot of talk about tribal lines this season. And yes, I am the last surviving Serpone, but you should be voting for the person who embodies every aspect of Survivor. Not someone who survived hoping the vote wasn't them. Not someone with little social capital in this game. I survived the most tribal councils, successfully plotted my course to the end, and took the biggest risks while making the hardest of decisions, setting aside emotions for logic and gameplay, allowing myself to get to where I am right now. Please ask yourself, and seriously take a moment and truly ask yourself, who deserves to hold the title of Sole Survivor Monte Carlo? With this casino-themed season, I gambled the most, and this should be my payoff. Set aside and look beyond your friendships, familiarities, and vote for me. This isn't the time to show your friends you care. This isn't the time to vote for someone who you may think won't win but deserves a vote. Every single vote will count tonight. This production team put a lot of time and effort into this, and they deserve the respect of your vote going towards the person who has played the best game, encompassing everything I have mentioned above. any of the qualifications that these other two have, I hope that I've been able to show you that I also possess, and then some, in spades. You will see when you watch it all back how much I truly loved and appreciated everyone here. I look forward to maintaining and building upon the relationships that were made over the past 39 days. And I want to say thank you again to Morgan and Ian and everyone else involved in production, but especially to my fellow castaways, who I think so highly of. I was embraced by all, and this is the most fun that I have had. I know I've been telling you all season that you're not allowed to vote for me, but now I am telling you you can and should. I promise you that this not only means the world to me, but that I honestly do deserve this. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, final three. Your job is officially done. And now we turn it over to the jury, who will, for the last time, cast their vote to decide who will be the winner and representative of Survivor Monte Carlo.
I'm voting for the only person that played a game that deserves to win, and that is Jonathan. Flawless, killed it, and I'm very happy to not put down any Ruken team members' names, ever.
I'm going to vote for what matters to me, not just because I think someone is going to win and my vote counts. I'm going to vote for who I want to vote for and the reasons why. And, you know, this is nothing against Jonathan and Connor, but there was a very human moment when I was at my lowest in this game. Michael came and just spoke to me as a human being one-on-one, and I'd be remiss if I didn't reward him for that. So congratulations, buddy.
Yeah, I'm going to vote for Michael. I really like how you said that you had to pick yourself up from the bottom after the merge and really finding your path forward. I think that you answered the questions really well tonight and you explained your game. And yeah, I think that you deserve to win this. So good luck, Michael.
I'm voting for Jonathan tonight. I actually ran out of parchment paper and I couldn't reuse a vote because no one ever wanted to target you. I'm really happy that I got to play this game with you, and especially grateful that you helped to defend my game today because I know that the jury didn't respect me too much. Thanks again.
Okay, for the last time, I'll go get the votes. Connor, Jonathan, Michael, jury, from the bottom of my heart, thank you all for an excellent season of Survivor and for playing this game hard. No one besides this cast knows how much work it took to earn your spot here tonight, whether you finished 11th or whether you were in the final three. We are looking forward to speaking with each of you in post-production and hope you all have found something here that made your time worthwhile. Dynamic Character Productions is very lucky to have found you all, and we respect the games that each of you have played. Seeing you all take this game seriously and building real, true connections is a team high that we will truly never get over. Congratulations once again to our three finalists. No matter how many votes are in this urn, with your name on it, you should all be very proud of yourselves. And speaking of the votes, I know you would like me to read these tonight, but we will all have to wait until the live reunion to finally reveal a winner. For the last time at Survivor Monte Carlo, good night, and we will see you all very soon.